It's called the 1988 Anomaly Theory. And it's a conspiracy theory proposing that the world underwent a fundamental change around 1988. This theory suggests a catastrophic event that either destroyed or replaced the Earth and caused a reality reboot. Supporters claim that this event is subtle and largely unnoticed, and that that's the reason, one of the reasons why people have such a affinity for the 80s.
That's crazy.
No, they have an affinity for the 80s because of us. The end.
Welcome to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast.
Welcome, guys, to the Gulf Coast Music Podcast. Today's new wave, the Molly Ringwalds.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Of course, of course. What was the greatest moment from the 1980s?
Oh man, I would say
Follow the Berlin Wall.
that's
That's a
gotta
great
be one
one.
of them. Absolutely
Should be.
The Smiths forming was one of the greatest. That's for sure.
The light-
MTV.
Yeah, MTV.
MTV.
TV, yeah, absolutely. There's so many good things about the 80s.
What's the best Smith song?
I would have to say, it pretty much put them on the map in America. I would say How Soon Is Now, or maybe Girlfriend in a Coma.
Right.
This
Yeah.
charming man.
That's Charming Man. That's-
Charlie Man's great, yeah. They're all great. They're the Smiths.
Yes, yes. My dad said that his best recollection from college is just going back to his dorm and listening to the Smiths.
Really?
Well, one of his best recollections, but yeah, it's music that'll never die. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great band.
Speaking of music that'll never die, you guys have a proficient understanding in that. What's it like carrying that through the years and performing it for people and reliving that nostalgia?
It's a great question. I mean, for me, it's great because I grew up with this music, never really thinking that I'd be performing it
Right.
and performing for such a long term with these guys. So, being able to perform these tunes is just it's fantastic for me.
I don't know if I call it nostalgia. I mean, it's sure you can easily call it that, but it's is a Beatles band nostalgia, I guess, or is more of an honorary? I mean, so I don't know. I sort of see it as we're just a band, and we definitely have a genre that we play, and but I think that we care more about being a band than we do about the nostalgia of it, I believe.
Good answer.
Yeah,
I concur.
Cheerio.
we call them the quiet one of the group. No.
Yeah. That's why I shut down.
16 Candles or the Breakfast Club?
Oh,
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It certainly aged better.
Right, right.
Yeah,
I don't know. I loved watching 16 Candles with my grandma, but yeah, I agree. The Breakfast Club is definitely up there. So how long have you guys been a band for?
I'm not good on time.
25 years,
25
Yeah.
years. Yeah.
I've been in for 22.
and I was in for 3 years before you,
Yeah.
so 25.
What encouraged the band's inception?
Really, it's a happy accident. Really, we had an original band called Crush UK working on our third album,
Right.
and we needed to raise money for the album, so we decided to put this band together called the Molly Ringwalds, where we play 80s music that we just love, that we grew up on, and the Crush UK, the original band kind of started going this way, and the Molly Ringwald started going this way, and we just decided let's just do this. There's a lot more. It's a lot more to the story, but that's the basic how it got started.
What do you base the metrics on
The metrics of what?
of the rise and fall of bands?
I don't know. I that's a great question. I think the rise. I think the fall of it was, it's a really long answer, but the fall of it was we didn't get the record deal, and one of the founding members was just like, I think I'm done with it, and me, Randy, and Liam were like, we don't want to stop doing the Mollies. We understand that we don't want to, or we will not be doing Crush UK anymore just because one of the lead singers is gone now.
Right.
And we didn't want to do any more albums or anything under that umbrella. So we just decided to move forward with the Mollies. So I would say not getting a record deal is really the best thing that happened for the Molly Ringwalds.
It's funny that you mentioned metrics because the metrics of it is that the band that was the show band, the cover band, or whatever you want to call it, was a lot more lucrative because when you get the record deal, as you call it, it's just it's debt. The record label's a bank, so they're.
Right.
When you get that record deal, you essentially go into debt. They front you and advance you a bunch of money, and now you work for them and you're in debt. Whereas the other way around, with the cover band, we were in the black all the time, so we weren't in debt. We were making money, and so the metrics were really easy. There's definitely more cool points, I would say, to being signed to Columbia Records or
Right.
Atlantic Records at the time or whatever, but when it comes right down to it, how many bands have you heard of that have been signed to a label that virtually disappear, that many people have never heard of? It's a very common tale, and then you just become a tax write-off for the for the label.
Yeah.
I think we kind of knew that we had something special happening.
Our first catch of the night. Aliens do exist in Caca del Diablo. If you like live music, the new Gulf Coast Music Listening Room event at Spring Hill College is where you should be on Saturday, July 19th from 8 to 9 p.m. For $10, come enjoy the two bands and make connections with other music lovers. A listening room is a respectful environment for the sole purpose of observing great music, so as of now, no alcohol or any other substances will be permitted. We'll have t-shirts. See you guys there. Yes, sir. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't let the dogs out. The City of Mobile Animal Shelter has many loving pets ready for a nice home. Whether you're looking for a dog like Snoop or a cat like Doja, the City of Mobile Animal Shelter is where you can find your next friendly companion. They're located at 855 Owen Street, and you can stop by anytime between 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We all need a little bow wow in our lives. Call 251-208-2800 because the City of Mobile Animal Shelter has you covered. That's 251-208-2800. Roof.
Green team. Bitch, I'm ballin' like West Lionheart. Rocket in my pocket like Westbrook. Bitch, I'm ballin' like Westbrook. Rocket in my pocket like Westbrook. Let my little homie take the shot like Westbrook. Still got them cannons, Jay Russell, not Westbrook. Bitch, I'm ballin' like Westbrook.
The Mollies, you mean?
Yeah, the Mollies,
Yeah,
yeah.
we did.
And
There was a show involved.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But before you answer that, if you can move that mic and just dish that microphone, I'm skeptical about that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
Well, can we just use the dummy?
Yeah, it looks.
We could use it as a
You'll
dummy,
have to
but
talk into this.
definitely still speaking to this.
Right.
one.
Yeah, we'll
Yes,
just.
please.
Yeah, we just slide it over.
Perfect. But yes, sorry to cut you off.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It's an interesting business. The whole music industry is, and when you know you have something good going, do you think you were more passionate about the Molly Ringwalds band?
Back then,
Right.
I think for me, I was passionate about both, really, because we always wanted to, be an original band. That's why we weren't a cover band before, because we wanted to write our own stuff. We had a really good thing, and I know Randy could probably agree with it, was if we go a little bit deeper, the original band, Crush UK, would open up for the Molly Ringwalds. So
Right.
we do our own stuff, go backstage, change into character, and do our thing.
Gotcha.
And it got a lot of momentum. But
That's a really cool idea.
But when one of the members doesn't want to do it anymore, and he was a big part of it,
Chief songwriter.
yeah, we really were like, all right, maybe we should just put this to bed.
Gotcha.
So I was proud of both, and I'm still proud of the Crush UK thing, and extremely proud of what we have while we're sitting here today.
For sure. Why does it not get old playing songs, cover songs, performing them?
Who said that?
Right. Yeah. Address.
Who said that?
Elaborate.
Dickie, what-
I always like to go in with the mentality that every show is the first one and the last one, and that's why it won't.
That's a tough skill to harness.
It is. Yes, some nights it really is. But I enjoy doing
This bloody show.
I do. Right. Yeah. Oh, plenty of times, and I'm just like, what am I doing here? I should be a dentist. I'm pulling teeth. But it's no. I always like to do that, and look, it worked out, especially when COVID hit, and all of that was taken away from you. And so you were like, well, wow, I appreciated that. I looked at it because it might have been the last show.
Right.
So when you come back, you're like, oh, and you
Oh,
get
yeah.
that, we got that recharge, which was the one silver lining of the pandemic.
It was, yeah, it was
like a reset.
it was a necessary. Yeah.
So that's what I try to do before every one of these. It doesn't get old. It's it's new every time.
I always say this too. Playing "Don't Stop Believing" gets old.
What?
You know, I mean, but so you take a step back and you start playing it, and we know why we're here. We know why there's an audience, and when they start singing, it's not old anymore.
Right.
At least to me, it's not old. I'm glad we did it. Because that's. Oh, you agreeing or comment?
No.
He's disagreeing. Take the mic.
So I agree with what these lads are saying here. But what I was going to say also is I always make it sort of the analogy of a chef, right? So when you go into a restaurant, you might go into a Michelin star restaurant and there's a chef there, and you might order, it could be anything, crawfish étouffée. You're not the person who invented that crawfish étouffée, but you are the best at making it. And you have to be creative within parameters. And that's what playing someone else's song is. It's you put some of yourself into their song when you perform it, because you're not the person who invented chocolate cake. You just make the best chocolate cake. And therefore, you can be an artist within the parameters of the guidelines.
Yeah.
And that's nobody calls somebody a cover chef. Even though they're making souffle and all the same things that all these other people invented. Now maybe you did invent some dish, but Gordon Ramsay didn't invent beef Wellington. Right. So at least I don't think he did.
I'll have to look it up. I don't think he did.
But he's known for beef Wellington. Why? Because he makes the hell out of it every time.
Sure.
Another thing too is that we're doing this every weekend. Like you played "Don't Stop Believing" every weekend, but the people that are watching you didn't see it for like several months. So they're back. It's a new audience.
Oh, right.
So it's new for them. So
Yes.
It doesn't.
To them, it still hits different.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Looking to transform your property into something remarkable? Land Refiners is your trusted, locally owned land services company based right here in Baldwin County, Alabama. Whether it's forestry, mulching, land clearing, tree and debris removal, demolition, grading, or even emergency services, Land Refiners has you covered. They work on both residential and commercial properties, bringing efficiency, professionalism, and results that last. Their team is licensed, insured, and proudly serves Baldwin County, Mobile County, and surrounding areas. At Land Refiners, they don't just move dirt, they build lasting relationships by exceeding expectations every time. Call today or visit landrefiners.com to schedule your free consultation. Land Refiners. Local, reliable, refined.
Euphoric.
Let's change the subject. I can talk about your looks for days.
Take it off your mind. I could do this all the time. I could lay it on the line, and I could drop it on the dime. Let's go.
For 7 years, I've been shedding tattoo tears. Sideline observing game on the pup list. Yeah, blessing on all of my haters, that's just what it is. Yeah, to live.
Speaking of cutlery, I guess I'm forgetting the word that applies to chef. But what's the best meal post concert? What is it? Culinary, yes. What's the best post concert meal? Bennigan's?
Bennigan's, what's wrong with you?
No, we were in the 80s.
Still exists?
Right?
I'll tell you one thing we did. This was years and years ago. We played. We opened for Three Dog Night in Pensacola.
Right.
And and there was a really 5-star restaurant that sponsored the whole gig. and they said, "Come upstairs, $3 night. When they finish, they're gonna have this table. Y'all have this table. Order anything you want off the menu. We're like anything, anything. Lobster, filet, great bottles of wine. It was really fantastic. It's something I'll never forget. Really, it was great.
Right. I think they went out of business because we ate it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
good
that's a rare meal post concert. I think most people are like, yeah, just Denny's.
Right. I'm lucky if I get a turkey sandwich. Turkey sandwiches are the best.
Right,
That's
right.
that's because it's not too much and it's not too little.
Sometimes I have a chicken sandwich, but Randy ate it.
That's true.
All the blueberry muffin from Starbucks.
Also, Randy ate.
Still holding on to that.
Describe the magic of rock and roll.
Oh, I mean, for me, it's I time travel every day with music.
Right.
Every day. I think I could speak for all of us on this point. It's in us. It'll never leave us. I think there's many things that we have in common, but one thing that we have in common, I think, is the love of music and how we believe how it can really change
Right.
people,
Sure.
situations, everything.
Yeah. Now I've got a 10-year-old now that just started getting into Nirvana and Louisa and things like that, which I enjoyed when I was younger, and so it's great to relive it through him. It's new to him,
Right.
and so it's fantastic watching. The other day he was like, "Dad, play Even Flow by Pearl Jam." I'm like, "Really? All right, fine." So it's always new and fresh in that aspect.
That's good. That's good.
Anything you've got to say?
I have nothing to say. They said it all.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you agree?
I do. I do. I'm a lifer. I mean, so there's not really much more to say other than it's just something it's like asking about air. I mean, so it's something that's just there every day, and it's crucial.
Right. Is Jack always the best at analogies?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think.
His name's Randy, by the way.
Sorry.
It's all right.
It's all right.
How did I think it was Jack?
It's my middle name.
See. Sorry.
That's his Platinum Randy, if you want to get technical.
Platinum Randy. Well, thank you for clearing that up. Yeah, another similarity I think between what you guys are doing and with the music is like you're bringing music from an age where there wasn't as much digital, there was no social media, right? And you're kind of bringing characters and a sound to life through social media again, and to audiences that are taking videos, and it's cool to see them relive it in the digital age. I think it's like in a video game when you have Michael Jordan in the latest NBA game, and he was unknown to the kids that are playing it, but now they get to see him, in a new age. When you guys are presenting with these, these visuals from the 80s to these new crowds, what is it like getting into that mode, embracing that atmosphere?
Are you talking about like when we're on stage live?
Right,
or?
right. When you're creating the visuals to match the sound.
I think we have kind of a notebook of what we all lived in the 80s, so we understand when you go to a Ronnie James Dio concert in 1982 that there was lasers and
Right.
things like that, and when you go to Duran Duran, the arena tour, there was huge videos behind it, so we grew up on that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we wanted to do. Music is the most important, absolutely the most important thing, but we wanted to bring things that nobody else was doing 25 years ago as a band like us.
Gotcha.
Nobody was doing pyro. Nobody was doing large video screen. Nobody was doing any of these type of lights or anything like that. And to bring the whole 80s experience, that's a very important part of it.
Do you think it must have been tougher back in the 80s to develop such a, with the lighting and all that
It's
stuff.
a lot more expensive.
More expensive.
It was certainly
Technology
more
wasn't the same. There weren't two parts for every one part,
Right, and you have to understand also is that there's when you deal with 25 years ago we were a band that was just on local circuits, and we weren't a touring band at the time. We did the Gulf South region, and we weren't national or international as we are now, and so nobody had seen anything like Devin had said. Nobody had seen anything like that. Where we put a lot of care, time, and money into the show, and it was something that was on the level that we were. You couldn't go to the clubs that we were playing at the time and see this kind of thing. We used to play an old place here in Mobile called the Cell Block. It's a little tiny little place, and it was right across the street from Soul Kitchen. And we would bring a whole show in there, and and nobody ever seen anything like it. So it was like this spectacle almost that we would bring to the table, and I think that's one of the things that was the initial curiosity, and then on top of that, the band was really good. So you had the musicality on top of the spectacle, and then the rest was sort of history after that.
Agreed. I don't know what you want me to say. I agree with that. Yes.
How is it when you? How do you decide the set list for performing?
We put a lot of effort into that. We try not to repeat, like we'll play Soul Kitchen tonight. I know it's not going to air tonight, but we play Soul Kitchen tonight. So we'll look at what we did the last time, and we won't play anything that we did before.
Gotcha.
Maybe a few, but not.
Maybe one or two, but yeah, not much. It's better for the audience to hear something different. It's better for the band to play something different. Yeah.
Right. Do you find that your audience might like tag you along as you're going from state to state or from city to city?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call them stalkers.
Yeah.
But they're good stalkers. Good stalkers to have.
Good
Yes.
We definitely have a lot of repeat fans that come to see us, so we want to make it interesting for them. Devin is really the one who's in charge of the set list. He has been for years, and he asks us our opinion, and we give it to him. But for the most part, he's the one who puts together the set list. So good on him. He does a great job on it.
That's commendable that you guys are releasing that responsibility to one person. You know, I think it eliminates
Everybody in our band, I would say, has a lane.
Yeah. You're comfortable
Dickie is the one that deals with all social media aspects and PR things. Devin is the one who deals with all of the things like set lists and stuff like that. I'm usually the audio guy, and then we have somebody in the band who's a video guy, and then live production. And Phil, we don't really.
And then there's
there's Phil.
Phil's in charge of the social events.
Right. He provides our entertainment.
He's in charge of the after
Yeah,
party.
he's a social cat.
You need somebody like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah, he's a social cat.
Probably the most rock and roll of all of us.
That is true.
All right. Does Phil play the drums?
No, he's the bass guitar.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Somehow I'm blanking again on the drummer from the Beatles.
Ringo.
Ringo, right? It's like there's a Ringo in every band. You know, it's like Ringo does what Ringo does.
Right.
How do the personalities from the Molly Ringwalds compare with your own personalities in your day-to-day lives?
I don't know. I find mine different. I don't know, but that's
I
just
don't
me.
find you. I see you.
But see, that's
exactly
me.
how you
Really?
I do.
You think
I
I'm
really
just
do.
prancing around the house?
No. But I think your humor off stage is the same as on stage. If that makes any sense.
All right.
If that makes sense.
Sure. I get that. I guess.
Y'all would probably think I'd be the same, but I think that I'm totally different. I
don't know about that
I
either.
think that, to me, I love talking with people, but most of the time I feel like I'm very reserved.
No.
And when I'm on stage, I feel like I'm totally different. And that's what's funny. I mean, you don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that. I've seen
I
you
think
with
that's
people.
who I am, and that's cool too. That's cool too.
I've seen you say things straight to people's
Well,
faces,
that's
and I'm
true.
like,
But I know
"Whoa, no, you don't."
All right, that example.
I think I'm probably a little looser when I'm on stage as Randy, because I feel like I'm a little more stuffy and uptight, probably a little more serious when I'm out of character. That's I'm definitely a lot. Especially when I first joined the band, I was definitely more the wild card. I was running amok, we should say. But I definitely think that I'm a little more not reserved, but a little more internalized
Gotcha.
Yes, because there are several stories from Mobile about
Oh yeah,
it.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mobile's been great to us.
Yes.
It really has. It's been a blast. And we played Mobile for 23 years. And we used to play till 2 a.m. and stay out till 5:30. And Randy would
That's bold.
and Randy would be on top of somebody's motor car,
With a mop.
like he's paddling, and then it was Mobile was nuts. It was a hoot. Wouldn't change it for anything.
Right.
Jeez. Yeah, performing for 23 years. I mean, I'm sure you guys amount.
How old are you?
It's not even 23, so that's I'm sure you guys have mounted stories. And what do you think keeps the drive going? I know you say it hits every time when the audience is singing, but
Well, I mean, that's a layered question. I mean, what keeps it going? There's multiple things. There are we'll call it there are practical answers, and then there are more sort of meta answers, if you will. Like the practical answers are, it's a living. It's it's better than digging ditches,
sure.
and we get to entertain people. We get to be alter egos. We get to play instruments. We get to see the world literally.
right.
So those are the practical answers. The more meta answers, or the more whimsical answers, if you will, is we get to hone an instrument to try and to hone our skill as performers, because that's a whole different thing. There's musicianship, and then there's performance skills.
Yeah.
And so you try to just be truly great at something, to try to elevate yourself on an artistic level, And so those are all of the frou-frou-y answers. But the practical answers is that we have a great thing, and we're very proud of it, and we're very thankful for it.
Right. Yeah. That was a good layered answer.
Yeah, I can't compound on that.
No, I think it's great. I think I think we've all just to piggyback on him, at some point at our age, if it was 6 or 13 or whatever, we all wanted to be musicians, and we are musicians, and we're successful musicians. So I mean, that's one of the reasons why we do it.
We have certainly beat a lot of odds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was saying we've certainly beat a lot of odds. The odds are absolutely stacked against you to do this. And I'm not trying to discourage anyone who might be listening. I'm just saying that there's success is the will to do what other people aren't willing to do.
Right.
And
They were easy.
There's another thing that you were mentioning earlier. What do you call it?
What?
You said something earlier. Is Randy the one who does all the?
Oh, right.
He just did a good one again.
Yeah, I try
an
to
analogy.
be.
Right.
Analogy.
yeah.
He did, that was a good one.
So thank you. So that's really what it is. It's just
Right.
about the
Randy reads books.
I can't even begin to tell you. And I don't mean to get long-winded here, but I can't even begin to tell you how many people have come to me and either wanted to be a successful musician or a successful producer or a successful studio engineer or whatever. And so you take them under your wing, and then you show them what you do and what it takes, and they last about 2 weeks. Because they have no idea how much work it is.
Right.
Because it might not be digging ditches, but it doesn't mean it's not a shitload of work.
And it's stressful.
It's very stressful. It kills marriages. It kills friendships.
And how have you guys been able to balance the stress?
I'll give that one.
Oh, come on. There you go.
No, I think it's a great question. I mean, look, we spend more time. The 5 of us spend more time with each other than we really do our families. If you think about it,
Really?
We're on the road, and we're in hotel rooms, and we're in buses, and we're in cars.
I
and
would say
stuff.
at least a third. We're on the road 100 days a year.
Yeah. So, I think we know each other's boundaries. We really care for each other. First of all,
Right.
We're friends, we're family, and friends fight and families fight. We argue, not all the time, but we argue. But I think if there's an argument, we kind of get in front of it, and let's kind of get this out there, and let's kind of bury it so we can move on.
And also knowing when to let go of certain things, because you better pick your battles. because you're going to be together a lot.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's
Yeah, it's and you know, I think we love what we do. We know what we have, and we appreciate that. And I think we all do know that. Like if you take this 5 of us, right, and it's not me up front and 4 in the back. It's all 5 of us right up there together. You know, and you take one of those parts out. I don't know if it'll be the same. I don't know if we'd be the model Ringwalds that we are today. I think we'll go on, but would we go on the way we are now, being like really successful? I don't see it.
No.
Well, the thing about it is that whether or not it'd be successful, I think that it would be successful as long as it was good, but it wouldn't be the same. Right. You know, I mean, just like if, for instance, if I'll give you another example. If Soundgarden replaces Chris Cornell with someone really good and comes out with a great album, will it be successful? Yes, it'll be successful on some level because that name carries weight.
Just like Foreigner, I think is a great example of that.
Yes,
right.
Foreigner's a great example. There's not a single original member in the band,
Nobody cares.
and nobody cares.
Right.
It's about that logo on that ad mat. Pantera, the 2 Abbott brothers are dead.
Yeah.
You know, and so, but Pantera is successfully touring, one of the biggest bands out right now doing tours, and so
we do things a little different in this band. We do meet and greets. We go. We don't just walk off stage. We go to the audience and we say hello. When we go. The majority of us do, but we connect with our fans on and off stage.
For sure.
So that's why I think Randy's totally right there. But if for some reason in 2 months Phil Wang's not on stage, people are gonna notice.
Right.
sure.
Right.
People
They'll
are gonna
definitely notice that.
Yeah. You'll start having some signs like,
I mean,
"Who
you're-
killed Phil?"
Right. No, I mean, you nailed it. It's pretty much, I agree with everything.
Yeah. Does it ever get tumultuous having to go to the fans every night, where you just like?
I'll let you answer that one.
No, I'm appreciative. If they don't show up, I'm just there on a stage looking at an empty room. And
Yeah.
That's not cool at all.
Right.
No, I mean, this is the thing that you have to do. You have to get them coming back. You have to get them and 2 friends coming back, and then after that, there are 5 friends, and so on and so on.
Right.
And I appreciate that. It doesn't bother me. In fact, that's the best part
Yeah.
sometimes. You know.
Yeah.
is,
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then you get a feel
Right.
for what it is you've just done.
Dickie's the best at that, and I really love doing it too. But for me, it's like there's an ending every night. Like you kiss the babies, you sign your autographs, you say hello, and I think he makes a good point because we get a lot of feedback. Like I like y'all added that song tonight. I haven't heard it in years. I really like that, and I think that's a really cool part of going to say hello and all that type of stuff. Right. But there are times I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm going. Like
I'm not.
I
in the mood for a
leave,
survey.
Randy leaves,
Yeah.
and Dickie and Phil are out there for 25 more minutes, and I'm not gonna do that.
Oh, yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's. I think everything he says is absolutely right. I have a time limit where it's like, all right, my fucking back is killing
Oh,
me.
yeah,
I
it's
gotta
like-
get. I'm gone.
It's like trying to leave the reunion with my mom. You know.
I tend to be the Neil Peart of the group. I tend to be a little more anxious, uncomfortable. With everybody touching me, and I'm just being honest. And get up. And let me wear your hat, and let me have this, and give me this, and give me that, and I'm super appreciative of everybody, and I really am very respectful of the
But it's
the
not
crowd.
Mardi Gras.
It's just and that's something, what's interesting is that's something, if I could open up a little bit, that's something that developed later in life for me.
Really?
It was because in my 20s and 30s, no problem, but it was much more when I got into my 40s that it started to really kind of
Right.
bother me and make me a little more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
You're
but it
getting
just
into those
did.
geezer years.
Yeah, right.
I think all of us are different as well. Like some can handle it better, and Randy's one who doesn't want to stay out there, and I think that's totally fine. Really, I mean, he goes and say hello, and he makes it short, and he goes back in the dressing room, and his job is done.
Right.
His job is done there. That's just my opinion there.
Yeah.
Then we just step through the Randy-shaped hole in the back door.
Right. Well, I mean, also, how many times have you gone to see, Metallica and they do what we do, or even a band? I'll even not use such a grand example. Even a band that's on the same level, the band that we cross on the road. We cross bands like Styx and Heart and REO Speedwagon and all these bands on the road. Not a single one of them do that, and so it's much more anomalous that we do it rather than it is, disrespectful if we didn't.
Right. Good stuff. Good stuff. What is the farthest you guys have traveled?
Germany.
Germany, probably, yeah. Germany. We did a three-day festival in Germany. In
Did y'all bring the wall down?
what's the place called?
With Grafenwehr.
Grafenwehr.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
They were rocking with it.
Yeah, it was great. It was really cool.
Armed Forces Entertainment we did for that. So it was,
Oh, there's the U.S.
Yes.
Armed
Like a
Forces.
USO type thing.
type like that.
Explain that.
Armed Forces Entertainment had us come over there, and it was on their grounds.
There's a U.S. military base.
Right.
Right.
And so it was just 3 days in a
That's
row
cool,
at the
man.
same spot, and it was us and Van
Bottoms
Halen,
Up.
Bottoms Up, yes.
Up, yeah.
Van Halen tribute. They were
It was
Fabulous.
really cool, and we hope to
Fabulous.
do more of that
Right.
in the future.
It gave them some Born in the USA.
yeah right.
It's kind of funny.
I was gonna say the band's also done, Cancun. We've done the Bahamas. We've done
Right.
everywhere from Washington D.C. all the way to L.A. We
Costa
don't
Rica for about 8 songs. Yeah.
Costa Rica. We don't do very well in the Northeast. We don't really have a presence there. But
They're just lame.
that is a
That's surprising, though.
Pretty much south of the Mason-Dixon line, we're great.
Interesting.
So
You would think Boston and
yeah, never played there. I think the farthest north we've ever gone, I believe, is Cleveland.
Did we go to Indianapolis? Is that north?
what about
It's
Philly?
north, but I think Cleveland's farther.
There's no Philly presence.
No.
No.
Interesting. Interesting. I mean, that's Rocky territory, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. You would think they're really
His
nostalgic.
department, yes.
Speaking of his department, are there any, you guys, if you're determining the set list, you guys have already sorted that out. But when it comes to appealing to everybody's desires and tastes for music, how does it go with the songs that you rehearse and the songs that you prioritize?
I think we do a good job of, we know the audience is just not going to want to hear hair metal or, just Guns N' Roses and Def Leppard and Poison. We know there's people out there who wants to hear Big Country and Kajagoogoo and In Excess. So when you come to one of our shows, it's a mixture of everything.
Right.
Really.
And it just depends on the event. Sometimes you might be doing a corporate thing. and
Totally
it's gonna
different,
Be, right.
yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of dance. There's a dance floor, so you go. All right. Well, we've got to play a little bit more dance.
More
to
up
get
the
'em
middle
up.
stuff, yeah.
Right. As
You gotta
opposed to a
read the
rock
room.
club. Yeah, rock club. You're doing mostly things where they just there's not a lot of room.
It's
They
like
should know that's
right.
Yeah.
It's like you guys are like doctors, and your catalog of medicines are like all the different songs and genres, and you got to read the room and supply the right
prescribe it
treatment.
accordingly.
Just to one up
See,
Randy on the
that was
analogies.
very good. I like it.
Randy and I
Randy
go back and
three,
forth. Yeah,
Quincy one.
yeah, exactly. Let's see. What's how do you guys schedule your tours? How far out in advance, and what's the talk to me through that process of scheduling tours.
It's up to our tour manager at that point. Just he handles everything. And,
Gotcha.
We pretty much say, hey, we feel this, in this area, and then there's a couple that'll sprout up during the week. But yeah, normally that's
It's about a
handled by
6 month
tour manager.
advancement.
And
for us,
that's
yeah.
about six or more.
It
6
used to
months.
Be, it used to be longer,
Right.
But it's actually shortened. Like we used to book a year out, but then it became sort of impractical because things would come up that were
Right.
very good shows that we had to pass on because we had booked some show that we always play a year in advance.
Right.
So it became the kind of thing where like, we play this venue 3 times a year, and we would have that venue on the books, and then we would get a call to go play in Vegas or something like
Right.
that. But then the shows we couldn't take it because we were already committed. So we
sure.
shortened that time frame.
More of a navigational thing at that point. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's you know, in order to grow, you kind of have to accept things that you don't know about the future, like the uncertainties and like, you know, that there have been purchases in my life of like of things that I bought. I was like, yeah, I'll definitely be committed to that in a year from now. And like you're saying, you know, it's you don't know where you're going to be in a year. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Tell me about your favorite and least favorite story from performing.
On stage or off?
Whatever comes to mind.
We'll just on stage, right? we'll stick with the on
We
stage.
might get a little devious.
When you write your book.
I don't know. There's been so many great. There's been so many great times that have happened. I mean, all the shows, you know, none of them. They're not all perfect.
I
But
know my
please go.
favorite. No, go ahead.
No,
Continue.
I don't look at it like that. Like, what was the favorite show? Because I think there's great moments in every show that we do. And
Right.
yeah, I mean, I like going to new markets when we do a new club for the first time. That's always really exciting because we always give it 110%, but for something like this, you got to go 150. You just got to give everything you have, and so they come back.
Right.
So we come back. So I guess that would be my answer.
Right.
So overall, my favorite show that we've ever done was with the Foo Fighters.
That was pretty
And
With the
getting
Foo
able to
Fighters.
sing back and forth with Taylor Hawkins on another
That's really
Bites the
cool.
Dust. And, you know, that was a favorite moment. Overall, favorite
that's a
era.
good one.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that kind of like a we made it moment?
no, we just happened to be in the right place at the right time for the
Right.
right people.
Right.
You know, and they were great. It was almost like hanging with friends. They
Right.
didn't. There was zero air about them at
That's
all.
really good.
It was like, oh, some fellow musicians. We're gonna jam. We're gonna have a good time. And
Right. And you guys have a similar aesthetic or just presence, I think, is you guys are down to earth. And how do you guys balance that with your success?
I don't know. I don't know.
You just have to try and remember. You just have to try and remember where you came from.
Right.
And because 90% of what we do in this industry is optics. It's about the way something looks. And because there are plenty of great players, there are plenty of great bands. And it's, how many times have you seen somebody say, you need to come to this show, it's unbelievable, or whatever, and then you go or you see the ad matter looks amazing, and then you go to the show and there's 5 people there. It's about the way something looks, and that's why we try to make every show as good as it can be, and so that there's no wool pulled over the people's eyes, and that what you see is what you get.
Right.
And how do we balance that with reality or with relationships? Is that what you're talking about? Relationships with like the fans? Is that
that too, but like just in this general setting, it's you guys are easy to talk to and aren't pretentious, and
you just try to remember it's just people. You
Right.
know? I mean, so I think that's one of the reasons why we got along so well with when we've dealt with a lot of celebrities over the years as well.
real recognize real.
What's that?
Real recognize real.
Yeah, right. I mean, I remember we all had drinks with Vinnie Paul in Vegas. We met him at House of Blues. We sat down and we had drinks with him
Right.
immediately. So it's just all about. I think that the minute that you cross the threshold of fan, that's when you'll put yourself in a different room. You know what I mean? Like I'm not explaining that well.
I understand.
But you see what I'm saying?
it's-
Like it's how you act when you get around people, or how you act when you get around people who you're a fan of. Instantaneously puts you in a certain category.
You got to be a fan of the fans.
Right.
Like, well, in example, not overstepping the fan boundary. When we did that show, and the Foo Fighters were there, and I remember, and we had done Synchronicity 2, and Taylor got up and played, and it was an incredible moment. I remember after the show, I walked up to him and I found him and I shook his hand and I said, Taylor, I just wanted you to know that probably the greatest moment of my musical life is singing Synchronicity 2 while you're playing drums. And he was like, oh, no mention. I said, and I know that you're going to tell everyone that the greatest moment of your musical life was when you played drums while I sang Synchronicity.
that's
and
only
that
right.
broke the ice right there. And it was, at that we were just two people.
Right,
It
right,
was
right.
Really great.
It's a good perspective to have.
I would say to further answer, I would say the worst moment for me on stage was probably being injured. It was January 8th or 6th. It was either 6th or the 8th, 2022. We were on stage in Orlando and I ruptured my Achilles tendon on stage. And
How'd you do that, by the way?
dancing.
Two
West End girls. So that was a horrible moment, and one of my best moments was after almost a year to the day, being able to walk again. We played the same venue, and it was almost like a homecoming, and I was able to actually walk because I didn't walk without a limp for about 10 months.
But you were a trooper about that, and I know that it bothered you when it happened. But after, the Achilles, you went back out, you finished the show, and it might have been the most rock and roll moment of the evening.
Yeah.
So cheers
It was
to you
very
for that.
Danny LaRusso in a way, right?
Right.
He got injured and came back. Except Miyagi wasn't.
Except right, I can't fix torn tendons.
What is next for you guys?
That's a great question.
Dinner.
Right, yeah.
Dinner and wine. I don't want to get into it too much, but did we talk a little bit about it?
What?
About the stuff?
About the movie? Oh.
About the marketing thing? I mean, we might be going off into a different direction with the modern Ringwalds, but this modern Ringwall thing that you see every weekend around the country, this will always be there. But we thinking about maybe expanding a little bit and going in a different direction. We don't want to. I guess if anybody wants to talk about it, we can. But
keep them guessing.
yeah, it's we might be going into a little bit of a different direction. Part time. That makes no sense, but
It doesn't make any sense. No, it's a good direction, but we're not abandoning this
Absolutely
at all.
not.
So don't worry about
That'll
that.
never happen.
No, it's
That'll
just
never happen.
just a little bit of a little flavor we're gonna add to it.
That's exciting.
And then also, we a band that loves to create, so we'll probably do another album of existing songs from the 80s. We really enjoy doing that. We just came out with a vinyl record. We might do something like that again. So we're always trying to do different things just to keep it interesting for us as well. You
Right.
know? And we all come from a original background. Like we all have written music in the past.
Sure.
And
Would that vinyl record be original songs?
it could be.
Yeah.
It could be. You never know.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
All right.
You never know.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much sums it up.
Someone tell you something.
No, that's exciting. That's exciting. Yeah, if you guys don't want to get into the discussion about,
We just think it's premature. We haven't taken the steps yet.
Right.
gotcha. Well,
But you
theoretically,
can ask us anything.
Right. So if we don't do it, you can't hold us to it.
right. Theoretically, what is the writing process like in your theoretical band that may or may not exist?
Well, we actually did release an original Christmas song last year that we wrote collectively. It was Devin came up with the concept of the demo, and then we expanded on it and recorded it, and it's out right now.
Yep. You found that on
So
Spotify.
the as far as the process, it was very easy. It was very easy, fast.
Yeah, it's great.
There was nothing. I think that I think it's
Did you write it around Christmas time?
we did.
Okay,
It
so
was
you were in-
released. It was released.
You got to be in the
for-
spirit.
Yeah, it was released for last Christmas.
Gotcha.
And so we'll probably do some some more for that this year. We'll probably record a new video for it, and
Yeah.
and you know, potentially start working on some new tunes.
Where's the creativeness come from for a Christmas song? Where's the motivation for that?
It really just fell out of the sky, to be honest with you.
Really?
It was a verse that came up with,
Yeah.
presented to those guys. I said, yeah, let's work on it. And we worked on it and finished it. It wasn't like, let's sit down and write, now we're going to do an Easter song. It
Right.
just didn't happen like that.
Do they have Easter songs?
Here comes Peter Cottontail.
That's it. We should do one.
Okay.
There we go.
Y'all could change the
With
game.
Easter bonnet.
Yes, that's right.
Tisket a tasket.
No, it's
And look what I've done.
Easter bonnet. I think that's what it's called, isn't it?
I have no idea.
I think you're right.
I think Easter bonnet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Still
a
very minimal. We should tap into the Easter song market.
yeah. Y'all are giving Easter eggs for your album, so you might. As well.
Hey, look, see? There it goes again.
No, that's really cool that you guys are breaking away and coming up with some original stuff. Would you guys maintain theoretically the Molly Ringwalds as the name, or would you?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
theoretically. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And
So-
how do you see that transition taking place?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it a transition. I would just call it an expansion.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
it's just an expansion. It's if if you think about any business that, because that's what this is. It's a business. So any business that has a niche and does something every now and then, you'll see them. They'll try to expand into something else. Sometimes it's very successful. Sometimes it's disastrous. So. I use this example all the time too. Whereas you have a business like Owens Corning. What do they do? They make glass they made Gorilla Glass for the space shuttle program. That was flexible glass, and then they put it on the shelf and they couldn't use it for years. And what did they do? In 2013 or 14, they signed a deal with Samsung where every curved screen on every cell phone is made by Owens Corning. So they took an old invention and they had
Right.
a new use for it. So it's an expansion of their. They never expected to get into the cell phone business.
Right.
But that's what they are. Just same thing with
So that's a good one.
DuPont was a dynamite company.
Right.
The paint company was a dynamite company. That's
Right.
what they made.
Actually, if I could piggyback on that.
Piggyback.
Wrigley's Chewing Gum was a soap company, and they would put a piece of gum in their soap,
No kidding.
and people started loving the gum and requested more gum.
Right.
So they became a chewing company.
See, we're not just a band. We're here to educate you as well,
So yeah, there's hundreds of examples of this. Of post-it notes, whiteout, all these things. There are tons of these things. So I think that it's something that we feel strongly about and passionate about. And if at the very least, if we write some songs and release some music and we like it, and great. It doesn't mean that we're going to give up on what we're doing.
Right. Were the New Orleans Hornets or Pelicans better?
Pelicans.
Pelicans.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, then that's good luck for you guys then.
We'll see.
Yeah. So performing at the Soul Kitchen tonight, 9 p.m. My parents said they'd go, but it's past their bedtime.
Okay. Yeah, right. We're there.
But are you going to the show?
Of course.
Okay, good.
Of course. What is the feeling of just performing to just a large crowd as a band? Just elaborate on that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's what we've always wanted to do, perform in front of a lot of people, and we get that opportunity to do that, especially places like Soul Kitchen. We pack the place. We've been doing it for years. They've been the audience of Mobile has been so good to us for the last 20 years. So it's great. I love it. That's what we do.
Right.
No, I'm good.
All right.
what's it like advertising a different decade? If you're coming in to perform in any city and you're saying we're going to be performing music mostly from a different decade.
I don't think we really. All it takes is one look at our press shot to understand what you're getting into.
Right.
So it sort of speaks for itself. I really don't think that it's any. There's no real need for us to dumb down the explanation of what it is. So all you have to do is see that logo on the and you pretty much get the idea.
Yeah, we try not to hit them over the head with it all the time with 80s. I mean, it's the show.
Sure.
That's what it is.
Sure.
Right.
So yeah, you'll figure it out when you see it.
Right. A great example is Rock of Ages.
Yeah.
Like when you went to go see Rock of Ages, the play, it's like it's an 80s nostalgia thing. There's a lot of 80s songs, but they don't say the word 80s once in the advertising or of that play.
Sure.
Now, all it takes is for you to look at the poster to know what's going on.
Right. Even if you don't know what's going on, you know what's going on. Yeah. When you guys were initially thinking of the idea of pursuing this, stepping into these stepping into these alter egos and embracing this band, the Molly Ringwalds, did it come with any doubt? You mentioned how just tough it is to make it in the music business, but and how it is a business. You have to separate yourself from the competition in a way, but in music,
Can you explain doubt a little bit better?
right? It's
Doubt for what?
when you
long term of this you're talking about, maybe?
You talking about self-doubt, or are you talking about doubt that we would make it? Or
well, I also think like insecurity and stepping into an alter ego and being, because in the arts to make it you have to be different. When you have to be different, sometimes the rest of society, it can feel like a stiff arm.
Believe it or not, the alter ego is more like a shield than it is
Really.
Than it is an insecurity. It's actually easier to perform as the alter ego than it is to perform as yourself.
True.
Because it's almost like wearing armor, and you play a character, whereas people don't you don't feel so exposed as a human when you're up there as a character, because it's a character.
You're doing what you're supposed to do.
You're doing what you're supposed to do. Exactly.
Right.
It's sort of like saying if you were a theater actor.
Right.
It's the same.
Right.
It's the same thing to me.
Right. You're fulfilling the role.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Makes sense. Good answer.
So it's just lastly, as far as doubt, I didn't really. If anything, it was you get the when the band wasn't. I don't want to use the word famous. I'm trying to get what's a good word?
Less well known.
Yeah, when the band was just starting out, you get a lot of jabs from friends and family about, oh, you're wearing this or you look like this or whatever, and so that can put self-doubt into you. But you have to. There's just a bunch of noise. You have to. Nobody, and then of course, as soon as the band took off, everybody was on board. Everybody was like, we always knew this would happen. So it becomes this sort of eye-rolling bonanza, like whenever you have family or friends that throw shade at you.
I was there from the beginning.
Exactly.
It's really cool how you guys bring that up, because for some reason I think it's too much associated with our generation. I think it's just the social media of it all, where that idea of like, they don't understand my intentions with whatever career path I'm going towards, in this social media age where people are pursuing content-oriented jobs, and another generation might not see the how those aspirations can fulfill themselves. You see a lot of like, they'll see one day, I'll be the one laughing, et cetera, like you're mentioning. And it's cool to see that you guys have also embraced that and can see that as well.
And sorry, I don't mean to take so much time. You have to do it for yourself. You can't do it. You can't be someone who's, peddling the streets for clicks and likes. It's I've never experienced a generation that works so diligently at documenting so little. But
Damn, that's a good point, man.
it's
Damn,
it's,
that's
it's
a good point.
unbelievable.
The point.
It really is. It's like at the end of the day, I gave a shit about being a great musician, a great artist, a great performer, and I took it seriously. And there was absolutely nothing I was going to send away. I didn't care about. Sure, I cared about success and all this. You dream of that stuff, but I would have done it if I was homeless. So that's the thing, is that you can't let your reasons be the wrong reasons. So if you're going to do this, do it for the right reasons. Do it for the reasons that you end up living with for the rest of your life, not just to get to some fictional place where all of a sudden you have 5 million followers. Because believe me, the next day you'll have 4 million.
Right, for sure. It's I love what you said, man, because that plagues a lot of the youth, is like getting caught up in the successes of social media when they don't transfer to anything.
Right. We were doing this long before the social media boom happened. So we were flyers on the wall and ads on the radio and things like that. And we obviously you want to stay connected with social media. You want to get that out there because there are people that only look at that. And
it's a great form of connection.
I come across people that are like, well, you don't have this many followers. Look, this guy's got all these followers. Like, we'll tell him to sell out House of Blues, and we'll see how that works.
Exactly. I've seen it 100,000 times already. It's like where you'll have some band that has they have 3 million monthly listeners and they have 5 million people following them, and then you go to their show and there's 30 people in the crowd.
Right.
And that's not. These are real examples. I'm giving you real numbers.
Yeah.
Like I can.
Real
I'm not going to name the bands.
Yeah.
But I can tell you right now there are bands that, and that's what I mean by it's all optics. There's the real world and the meta world, and then those worlds run in parallel. They don't always connect. So you might have this great presence and this great following and all these numbers and likes and clicks, and then when you go to try and get people off their sofa and off their phone to walk into a venue and pay money to see something, that's a totally different deal.
Definitely.
Sorry if I sound so aggravated.
No, I'm with you, man.
That was like so necessary to just be like presented to the air amongst us. Like I love that point. And it's never been more prevalent than in the social media age.
And it is what it is. It's the world where
Right.
that we're in, and our children will be. And
I'll
that.
Go away.
Well, let's all go back to the '80s as a society. And
Did you ever hear the catechism theory from the '80s? Do you know what I'm talking about? You ever heard this?
Here we go.
This is
it's not even a competition.
It's not an analogy because it's
No.
5-1 right now.
It's not a competition anymore.
It's not
over.
it's a what do you call it? A conspiracy theory that the world actually ended in 1988. That there was a this is real shit. I'm telling you. Like there's a conspiracy theory that the world actually ended in 1988 or 89 via nuclear blast, and we don't remember it. And what happens is that this is a simulation, and that's the reason why there's such nostalgia for the 80s, because it's people remembering, it's consciousness remembering to the last time. I can't remember what the name of the conspiracy theory is, but it's just like the Mandela effect. There's a conspiracy theory about the world ending in 1988.
What about all those people that romanticized the 60s and the 80s?
I'm just telling you what it is.
I know, I got you.
There's a real
all right,
conspiracy
well,
theory. I'm going to tell you what it is.
I've never heard of it.
I'd like to hear more.
Let me figure out what the name of it is.
Oh, please. I've never heard this. But there you go. We like to call Randy Wikipedia. Should play the Jeopardy music.
It's let's see.
AI is searching.
Yes. All right. It's called the 1988 Anomaly Theory. And it's a conspiracy theory proposing that the world underwent a fundamental change around 1988. This theory suggests a catastrophic event that either destroyed or replaced the Earth and caused a reality reboot. Supporters claim that this event is subtle and largely unnoticed. and that's the reason. One of the reasons why people have such a affinity for the '80s.
That's crazy.
No, they have an affinity for the '80s because of us. The end.
There's connection
I
to the
believe
Mandela
Reddy.
effect. That's why they say that
I
all
believe
the
Reddy.
Mandela effect stuff is usually stuff from the '80s because they're remembering the way, like this is a parallel universe, and they're remembering the way it used to be before the world ended.
Cool.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another
Yeah.
episode of the Gulf Coast Music Podcast. See you guys in the next wave. Go catch these guys at Soul Kitchen tonight. And where can people find you at on social media?
Oh, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, themollyringwalds.com. That's the one you definitely want to go to.
Yes, sir. And we're waiting on the Theoretical album that will theoretically drop soon.
Thank you,
That
Quincy.
theoretically came out in 1988. Before
Correct,
the
yes,
world
before the
ended.
world ended.
Welcome to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast. Welcome to the Gulf Coast.